So it looks like that GB News, or GBBs, is in trouble. Turns out that they have been accused of prejudicing the trial of the Colston Four. Bit of background for those just to fill you in. Last year we had obviously a big movement like you saw in America around Black Lives Matter. And down in Bristol, there was a statue of a guy called, I can't remember his full name now, something Colston. But again, very big figure back in like the, what, hundreds, what, 1700s, something like that, I think he was. But essentially, all his wealth was pretty much from the slave trade. And of course, having a statue honoring, again, a man who basically made his money from the suffering and this, again, forced labor of others isn't really the right thing to be honoring in this day and age. And of course, we had the toppling of the statue, and of course, it was eventually thrown into the river. However, obviously, the police had to do their job. They had to look at, was this criminal damage? And that was really what the sort of the trial came down to, really. And essentially, it looks like that GBBs have been accused of prejudicing this trial, because in the UK, compare this to like America, where like the news is like constantly looking at the trials, giving like blow by blow of what's going on day by day of the trials. We don't have that. Once a trial starts, there is pretty much a media blackout. Now, journalists are allowed to cover it, but they're not allowed to publish anything until like the trial is formally over. So long as that, again, and I think is a good thing. Again, you can say disadvantages, advantages, whatever. Again, there are pros and cons for both ways for doing it. But because, again, this is how we do it over here, looks like GB News has gotten into a spot of trouble over this. So we'll find out, obviously, what the consequences of this might be, because it might be not only criminal time for themselves, serving at Her Majesty's pleasure for particularly the writer, but almost certainly GB News is going to face probably quite a very significant fine. So this probably won't kill GB News, as I've said before. This has been funded to the hilt to not fail. So this won't be the last we hear of GB News, but nonetheless, this is yet another in a very, very long line of failures by GB News. So let's dive into this article and find out what's going on. But before we do that, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link to my buy me a coffee. And of course, the YouTube memberships are open as well. So as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel. And on with this. So this comes from The Guardian. The title of GB News accused of prejudicing the Colston 4 trial. GB News was accused of prejudicing the trial of the Colston 4 after it published an opinion piece criticising the defendants midway through the court proceedings. The right-wing news channel was summoned to the Bristol Crown Court halfway through the trial in relation to an article and video monologue by the presenter, Mercy McCaldy, titled, "I'm in favour of white people calling out racism, but the Colston saga reeks of white guilt." In the piece, Merkel commented on the ongoing trial and suggested that the Bristol Council and local police officers might have colluded with a bunch of anarchic protesters to tear down the statue of the slave trader Edward Colston. She added, "I don't need a bunch of white hippies crippled by white guilt to throw a largely relevant statue into the river to prove they're not racist." And although journalists can report on most court proceedings, there are tough legal restrictions on what the media can publish before the end of a trial in case it prejudices the jury. At a hearing on the 23rd of December, which can now only be reported, Judge Peter Blair QC considered whether GB News' decision to air the monologue constituted contempt of court. "The most pressing matter from my court's perspective is to ensure the safety of my trial and that processes is maintained and that I do not have to take a risk of jurors coming across this sort of material and the trial being prejudiced by them being influenced, he said. The judge read out the GB News' editorial guidelines in court and expressed dismay at McCoy's, I think that's how you say it, opinion piece, saying, "I'm struggling to see how, as in GB News' character, this article is, quote, respectful or sets an example by treating others in a way that they would wish to be treated." However, the judge ultimately decided not to pursue the contempt of court charge. The four defendants, Ryan Gilliam, Milo Ponsford, Sage Willoughby, and Jake Sasuk, all argued that GB News had created a substantial risk of serious prejudice by publishing this material. Graham's lawyer argued that the GB News monologue pours scorn on the defendants and it pours scorn on my clients in particular. She said this decision to publish this article during an active trial was not only contempt, it was entirely uninformed contempt based on fundamental ignorance of what has occurred in these proceedings. GB News representative told the court that there had been a breakdown in communication at GB News on the day that the article and the video was published. She said the lawyer on duty at the channel only had a few minutes to look at it while also reviewing other on-air content. The duty lawyer accepts that by any view on his part, he did not appreciate the concern arising from the comments at the time, she said. She added that GB News had put in place immediate steps to ensure that something like this does not happen again and would set its staff on media law training to ensure they understand contempt of court laws. A local blog called The Alternative Bristol was also separately summoned to the court for the potential contempt of court trials during the trial. They were let off with a warning after an apology telling the judge that they were more a group of activists than journalists, and in any case, the site only has about 150 hits a day. In the statement, Judge Blair said that he decided not to refer GB News to the Attorney General over the potential contempt of court, saying the swift response of GB News in seeking to remedy this position while my concerns came to their attention, and the promise of the undertaking further focused training of the journalist on these matters of contempt in court, and their frank acknowledgement of their errors are, in my view, sufficient and proportionate steps to reflect their culpability on this occasion. All four defendants in the case were not found guilty of causing criminal damage by the jury on Wednesday afternoon. So, essentially, GB News did a massive whoopsie there. And again, GB News love to tell us about how they are professional journalists and that they know what they're doing. Yet, time and time again, they really don't seem to know what on earth they're talking about. Which is why probably soon again, we will probably have to pay them another visit on our Wednesday live stream sometime in the future. But needless to say, I'm looking at someone else, and I think you know who we're going to go back to next Wednesday. But needless to say, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. And as always, we'll see you all next time.